hot. We've got music from Dawes tonight. But before we get to them and that, we're going to do something different from what we usually do. Tonight's monologue is for Republicans. So if you have someone in your life who is either planning to vote for Trump or thinking about it, I would like you to send this to a Republican you love and respect with a request. Ask them to watch this whole thing as a personal favor to you. And I promise I won't make you regret it, because it's not going to be our usual roast of Trump or some kind of liberal virtue signaling, none of that. In fact, I'm going to open with a joke about a Democrat for a change. President Biden, remember him, the man who disappeared? President Biden was in Delaware over the weekend, where he went into a Joseph A. Bank, which is puzzling. Why would he go into a Joseph A. Bank? Well, it turns out he was looking to deposit his Social Security check, but he didn't have an ATM, no ATM. So, all right, so let's begin. Well, first, for those of you who don't ever watch, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. Maybe you remember me from The Man Show. We had a pretty good relationship back then. The beer, the trampolines, good times, right? We had fun. But now times are less fun. We're a week away from an election, and we are very divided. And not just because of Donald Trump, because of people like, if I'm being honest, me. I do a lot of mocking and belittling, and it isn't always productive. Am I biased against Donald Trump? Yes. Do I think I have good reasons for being biased against him? Yes. And I'm probably wrong, but I think when you hear some of those reasons, you might agree with me even just a little bit. Now, I assume you're watching this because you care about the person who asked you to watch it, or maybe you're just open-minded and not afraid to hear somebody who might not agree with you speak. Either way, thank you for giving me 15 minutes of your life to talk about Donald Trump. And maybe you love him and you'll vote for him no matter what he says or what he does. Maybe you hate the other side so much you'll look past anything he says or does. Or maybe there's a little voice in the back of your head saying, I might not want this guy driving the bus. And if you're one of those people who think Democrats are controlling the weather or Beyonce eats baby skin, forget it. This is not going to help at all. This is not for you. But what I'm asking you to hear isn't what I have to say. That doesn't matter. I want you to hear what he's saying. Most Americans, and you are probably one of them, don't have time to watch his rallies and his speeches and all the interviews because you have other things to do. But I don't have other things to do. This is all I have to do. And because I don't have other things to do, I've seen all or at least part of every interview, every speech, every all-caps social media post from this man for the past 9 years. And I'm not going to bore you with the old stuff. I'm not going to rehash the grab him by the tape or the insults to John McCain or Stormy Daniels or the wall he didn't get Mexico to pay for. I'm not even going to bring up the stuff that has been written about him, even though we've heard some disturbing things from a lot of people he hired to work for him. I'm only going to focus on words that came out of his mouth, because I think you might be surprised when you hear some of them. Now, since day one, Trump has been telling us he's going to make America great again. Since 2015, he's been saying he wants to abolish Obamacare. He wants to replace it with something better. He says he has a plan. He says that over and over and over again.
We have no choice but to absolutely replace Obamacare, and we're going to come up with a much better plan. We're going to come up with a great health plan. And this is a great plan. Wait till you see the plans we have coming out literally over the next 4 weeks. We have a plan coming out, an additional plan coming out in a very short period of time. We're going to have fantastic health care, and the plan is coming out over the next 4 weeks. We're signing a health care plan within 2 weeks.
9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. You already have the concept of the plan, and it'll be much better health care. Tell people what the plan is? Yeah, well, we'll be announcing that in about 2 months.
In about 2 months. That was 2019. We still haven't seen a plan for health. If someone who works for you, well, let's say it's your barber, promises to present you with a plan for trimming your hair over and over again for 9 years and never does, you'd probably fire that person. You'd probably get a new barber because your hair would be down to your ass. Donald Trump was president for 4 years. You would think that at this point he would have some answers, some kind of plans for simple questions about subjects like health care and child care. But every time they ask him one of these simple questions, like what actual steps are you going to take to lower the cost of child care, what's the plan, he doesn't even try to answer. He just tap dances.
Can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make child care affordable And if so, what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would do that, and we're sitting down. You know, I was somebody, we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue. But I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that, because look, child care is child care. It's there's something, you have to have it.
Child care is child care. You can't argue with that. He's like a child who didn't do his book report. The only children whose care he seems to care about are the children who are being forcibly sex changed at school. Now, I understand this is a tough subject for people to understand, but this alarm he keeps sounding about forced sex change operations, this is not happening. This is an imaginary problem. But Donald Trump would like us to believe that our children's penises are in grave danger.
Your child goes to school, and they don't even call you, and they change the sex of your child, perform sex change operation, and send them back home. Make the boy into a girl and not tell the parents. Your boy leaves the school, comes back a girl. It was a he and comes back a she. You say, Jimmy, I love you so much. Go have a good day in school. And your son comes back with a brutal operation, and often without parental consent. Can you even believe we're saying this?
No, none of us can believe you're saying this. Public schools are not giving gender surgeries to children or any surgeries to children. And without the parents' permission, parents can't send their kids to school with peanut butter, okay? Schools won't let our kids eat nuts. You think they're okay with cutting them off? This is a lie. You have to know that you do know this. This is not real. The president should be focused on things that are actually things. There are so many difficult problems that need to be solved. And this guy, he can't stop talking about windmills.
The windmills, they don't work. They're rusting and rotting. They're making a lot of noise. I could hear it for 2 miles away. They're destroying the country. If you want to see a lot of dead birds, go to a windmill and just look underneath. You'll see birds all over the place. It looks like a bird cemetery.
They're killing the bald eagle and other eagles.
And then they kill all the whales, right? They're driving the whales, I think, a little batty. And they say the noise causes cancer. You tell me that. Wah, wah, wah. The wind is bull.
The wind is bullshit. Honestly, do you know anyone who speaks like that? The people you know who think the wind is bullshit are crazy people standing on a street corner yelling at cars. He's completely preoccupied with nonsense. I'd like you to close your eyes now and imagine you're at the dinner table on a Sunday night. Your grandpa's there. And Grandpa's had a long day. Started the day tweeting hate messages to Taylor Swift. He ended it dancing to the Village People for 39 minutes. You ask him to pass the green beans, and Grandpa launches into this.
But if I'm sitting down and that boat's going down and I'm on top of a battery and the water starts flooding in, I'm getting concerned. But then I look 10 yards to my left and there's a shark over there. So I have a choice of electrocution or shark. You know what I'm going to take? Electrocution. I will take electrocution every single time. Do we agree?
No, we don't, because we don't know what you're talking about. And we don't know why you're talking about it. I mean, aren't you supposed to be running for president? Aren't you supposed to be worried about important topics? And here's the thing. It's kind of funny, these silly random rants of his, and they would be fine if he was hosting a podcast or selling knives at the farmer's market, but he's supposed to be leading us. People are listening to him, and the country is getting crazier because he makes it okay to be nuts. Remember all those people were in Dallas waiting for JFK Jr. and his dad to come back to life, and then he would serve as Trump's running mate in 24? Okay, let's try to imagine John F. Kennedy saying the same thing Trump just said.
But if I'm sitting down and that boat is going down and I'm on top of a battery and the water starts flooding in, I'm getting concerned. But then I look 10 yards to my left and there's a shark over there. So I have a choice of electrocution or shark. You know what? I'm going to take electrocution. Oh, and I hate Taylor Swift.
It sounds much nuttier when you hear it from a real president, right? Donald Trump is the exact meeting point between QAnon and QVC. You remember when Ronald Reagan was selling high tops in the 80s? No, you don't, because he wasn't. Reagan didn't sell sneakers. Clinton didn't sell pork rinds. Bush didn't sell baked beans. Presidents don't sell products, except for one who sells a lot of them.
Hello, everyone. I have something incredible to share today. We are announcing the launch of Trump Coins. It's a really beautiful coffee table book. I'm doing my first official Donald J. Trump NFT collection right here and right now. My new book, Save America, is now available for order. By popular demand, I'm doing a new series of Trump digital trading cards. These cards show me dancing and even me holding some Bitcoins. That's the real deal. That's the real deal. My last two Trump digital trading card collections sold out in just hours. And now I'm back with my latest series called the Mugshot Edition. Here it is. If you want to go out and get it, you can go out and get it. Have fun with it. My new Trump watches. That's a lot of diamonds. I love gold. I love diamonds. We all do. I think you all should get a copy of God Bless the USA Bible. Let's make America pray again. God bless you. And God bless the USA.
Now, those God Bless the USA Bibles, you probably know, weren't even made in the USA. They're made in China. That's how tough he is on China. He forces them to make his Bibles for him. How does this not bother anyone? How is this not embarrassing? This is like a bizarro world. He's selling Trump Bibles because, of course, this is a man with deep reverence for the word of the Lord.
You mentioned the Bible. You've been talking about how it's your favorite book. And you said, I think last night in Iowa, some people are surprised that you say that. I'm wondering what one or two of your most favored Bible verses are and why.
I wouldn't want to get into it because to me that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal. So I don't want to get into verses. I don't want to get into.
There's no verse that means a lot to you that you think about or cite?
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
Even to cite a verse that you like?
No, I don't want to do that.
You're an Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy?
Probably equal.
This is, I don't know, sharing his favorite Bible verse is too personal. But did you hear about Arnold Palmer's big one? Boy, look, he obviously hasn't read the Bible. And that's okay, just say you haven't read the Bible. If you did, you'd know you're not supposed to lie about reading the Bible. It's the 9th commandment. The lying is unprecedented and relentless. So many Republican mayors, governors, senators, people from his own party who want to support him, beg him to stop spreading these ridiculous stories, but he won't. He won't even do it when he's confronted by Fox News.
When you said, and you know it's gone viral, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, you say you're just reporting what had been said. But why not say now, well, look, that turned out not to be true.
I don't know if it's not true. I don't know if it's true or not true. I read something.
The pets, you don't know if it's true or not true? No. It's been debunked by local officials.
What about the geese? What about the geese? What happened there? They were all missing.
There was one guy with two geese.
Howie, I have no idea. That's a story that was reported, and I said that. Why don't you go after the newspaper that wrote it? Don't blame me.
Well, I think it's been debunked by local officials.
I don't think it's been debunked at all. I think nobody talks about it except you.
But wait, I thought you were against fake news. How is this what we want from a president? Someone who believes or pretends to believe any crackpot story that fits his narrative, who blames everything on immigrants, forgetting, I guess, that 2 of his 3 wives were immigrants? Do we only have room for hot immigrants? Is that either he doesn't care about the truth or he has a hard time understanding what the truth is? Both very bad options. So now we have an election on Tuesday, and Trump has made it very clear that if he wins, it was an honest election, and if he loses, it was a rigged election. There were only 2 possible outcomes. It was stolen or I win. Can you imagine if this happened in the World Series? Like if the manager of the Yankees, Aaron Boone, after the game, reporter asked him what the team has to do to come back, he's like, come back. We don't have to come back. We're winning. We won. They cheated. The umpire was born in L.A., and Ohtani's an illegal immigrant. I'll see you at the victory parade. he would be taken to the hospital. They'd do an MRI on his brain to find out what was wrong. How is what Trump is doing any different from that? He has no plan to lower grocery prices or to make us safer or to protect the border. The only plans he has is to file lawsuits, legal challenges, settle scores, and punish his enemies. That's all he has planned. He's going to pull all the same tricks he pulled last time and more. And this is not my opinion. This is happening right out in the open. They're not even trying to keep it secret. The one thing that makes this country a democracy more than anything else are free and fair elections of the people, by the people, and for the people. That's what it says. He wants to turn it into of me, by me, for me. He's planning to pardon himself. Nixon must be rolling over in his grave, just punching himself in the face right now for not thinking of that. He doesn't believe the election was rigged in 2020. His own White House staff testified under oath that he knew all along there was no evidence of fraud. He knows he lost the election. Trump's own daughter, his golden child, Ivanka, one of his closest advisors, said there was no evidence of voter fraud. And yet here we are almost 4 years later, and he's doing it all over again.
If I lose, I'll tell you what's possible, because they cheat. That's the only way we're going to lose.
They don't want voter ID because they want to cheat. They're trying to rig the vote through this crap they're doing.
They cheat with ballots, and they drop ballots and fake ballots.
They're trying to rig it with this. This is their new form.
I didn't rig it. They did.
They are professional thieves when it comes to elections.
I see the way they lie and the way they cheat.
How will the Democrats cheat in Pennsylvania?
About 12 different ways. So many ways. If you had all day, I could give you examples.
I have 2 minutes. Just give me one of those examples. Those poor dummies on January 6th, they all went to prison because they believed him. And I get that politicians don't typically tell the truth, they exaggerate, but this is ridiculous. How could we have an election if whoever loses won't accept the results and think CBS should have its license revoked for an episode of 60 Minutes he didn't like, who sides with Russia over the CIA and sent COVID equipment to Putin at the height of the pandemic when Americans couldn't even get it? Not to mention the 34 felony convictions. Will he be president from jail? I mean, how do you see that working? Listen, politics in a lot of ways is like sports. You probably just root for the team your dad roots for. Maybe you've been a Republican your whole life, that's your team, and it feels wrong not to root for them or to vote for them. But this time around, you wouldn't be alone. You have a lot of company because hundreds of prominent Republicans, including dozens of members of his own administration, generals, senators, his own chief of staff. I mean, Dick Cheney is... all believe he is unfit to be president. This has never happened before. And you know who else isn't voting for him? I'll tell you who. This guy, Mike Pence, his adoring, subservient vice president, said, I will not be endorsing Donald Trump this year. Who would have ever thunk it? I mean, it's like if milk turned on cookies. His own vice president. How much more do you need? But if you do need more, I suggest you watch that rally he had at Madison Square Garden or listen to all 3 hours of his interview with Joe Rogan, because most elections are about policy. This one is not. This is about sanity and security and democracy. You know, I saw a shirt the other day. It said, I support Trump because he pisses off the people who piss me off. And it's funny, and I get it. Sometimes it feels like no one has a sense of humor anymore. But is that really all we want for America, is to piss each other off? I don't want that. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you for listening. And whoever wins, once the votes are counted, if Trump has more of those votes, we are going to accept that. Even if it doesn't go our way, we won't like it, but we'll accept it because that's how it has to go. We vote, we count the votes, winner wins, loser goes away. That's the only way this country can work. And it's up to you to do whatever you think is the right thing to do. But before you go, we have one more thing. This is Guillermo. He is an immigrant. He became an American citizen. And this is a toast for our fellow Americans. God bless America. We'll be back with Hugh Grant.